Hey everybody, it's Jonathan here from The Land Method, and welcome to this week's episode of Crushing Land. We're going to do something a little bit different today for Crushing Land. I'm actually doing an on-location discussion today to help you guys with some stuff. So we're here, I've got a vacant lot here behind me, and what I'm talking about today is actually topography, how much it matters, how much it doesn't matter, things like that. And so a lot of people will talk about like topography and how important it is, and basically I've seen like land funders out there that like basically are like, we're not gonna get involved and do transactional funding. The person we recommend does not do that, but there are people out there that'll say like, we won't do it if the topography is steep or has anything like that. So what I'm here to show you is it really varies hugely by location. So I live in the mountains, so this is near me, and you probably can't tell, but this lot behind me here is pretty steep. It's kind of following me around. The camera here, I'll try to get it up a little bit here, but if you can see here, there's a nice drop off here. It probably drops down probably about 30 or 40 feet to that tree line back there. And so it's not that far back. It's probably only, I don't know, a couple hundred feet to drop off 30 or 40 feet. So it's a steep lot. And this lot actually just recently sold for about $40,000. It's an acre and a half. It sold for about $40,000. And to help you understand this more, here is the lot on the other side of the road. You can see this giant hill here behind me, and the house is way up there. And so for this area, for the mountains where these properties are located, dirt road, this is normal. In fact, this lot right over here that I was just talking about was advertised as a relatively flat building lot. And the reason that's the case is, even though it's steep right here at the beginning, once you get down a little bit down there, it is pretty flat. There's a nice area to build, makes it easy. And so in the mountains, that right there, these lots that you're looking at, the topography really doesn't matter. Now, I've had properties in other areas of this same state, other states, where this would be a deal breaker. People would not in a million years come and even look at something like this. I had a property once in the state of Florida, had a very light rolling hill on the property. And that property was probably would have been like a walkout basement situation, would have worked out best. So basically the top floor you would have entered, bottom would have been walkout basement, would have made it nice and easy, and nobody wanted. They're like, what do we do with this hill? How do we handle it? Didn't exist in Florida. Honestly, where I live, that would have been considered not like relatively flat, that would have been considered flat. That would have been a flat building lot. And so the point is, when you're looking at topography, when you're looking at it with your properties, it has to be relative to the area that you're working in. I don't know if you can see behind me over there, it's kind of hazy, but back over above these trees up there is actually a bunch of mountains. We're in a very mountainous, you can kind of see right here, you can kind of see the ridge line. And sorry for those of you who are listening, you're just going to have to get the details. And if you are listening to this by chance, you can watch it on YouTube, or you can watch it in our Facebook group. But you can see it here looking behind me, how this is normal, right, for this area. And so having these lots, everybody's building on a lot like this. And so when you do come across something that is by chance like super flat, you got a gold mine. But this is the norm. Now, conversely, if you're working in an area where everything is super flat, like the state of Florida, or you're out west somewhere, something like that, and then you get a property that all of a sudden has a good grade to it, well, then you may have an issue, and people may not buy it because of that. So when it comes to topography, the thing I want to talk to you guys about here a little bit is just knowing what's there. Don't let like hills and things like that freak you out. And it's funny, I actually learned that lesson the hard way. I was working in an area before I moved to the mountains, and it had a lot of hills and things like that. We were just like, well, we didn't learn it the hard way. We were just second guessing ourselves a lot. And maybe not doing deals that we should have done because of that. And then after we moved here and we started doing deals in the mountains, we realized there's a ton of these deals being had, and people buy them anyway. And so you don't want to shy away from it if that is the norm in the area. Now, if it's not the norm in the area, that may change things. that's something that you examine. You're like, wow, this is really steep. And even around here, I'll give you guys an example of a property that I have right now. It's 5 acres. The bottom part of it is probably like this lot right here behind me, with these hills and everything going up. And that's probably what you would kind of get, basically the same distance from the road, a house like right up in there. And then after that, it just jets right up. It has, the property is owned all the way to the ridge line, all the way to the top. And so that being said, you know, basically after you, if you want an amazing view, I mean amazing, miles and miles and miles, you could build a house up at the top, but it would cost you so much to get up there. So most people aren't going to do that. But the bottom does have an area that's usable, and then after that it goes, you know, it does this. So even in a case like that, where the topography is insanely steep, it goes up to the ridge line, it literally goes up to like 6,000 feet. In those cases, you know, it's still not a dead deal because there is usable land below it. Or, you know, if you get it for the right price, then somebody may still go out and build something, you know, very high end. You know, we've all kind of seen those houses up in the mountains that are like right at the peak, right at the top. You're looking out there, you can see the lights, and they've got these amazing, you know, miles and miles and miles view. And so those are examples of things that happens in those areas. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because so many people teach, like, when they talk about topography, they basically say, like, if you see it and it's steep, avoid it. Like funders out there, I know there's transactional funders. Like I said, ours doesn't have an issue with this, doesn't even ask. But transactional funders that are out there will bring up like, oh, what's the topography? Or there's other land courses out there that basically tell you, like, if you see anything like that, shy away, don't do it. Well, in reality, it's very dependent on where you are. And topography, the more important than whether or not it's there is what's normal for the area. So again, you can see behind me here, all these mountains. You can see behind up here on the ridge lines. I mean, this is completely normal around here. This is probably actually a better view of the lot. You can see those trees down there behind me here. Those are the trees at the back of the lot. So you can see how quickly this drops off. And again, this is a $40,000 lot that's sold. It's only an acre and a half because this is what's around here. And as you can also see, when these people clear this and when they build, they're going to have fantastic views. And that's a huge thing as well when it comes to that. So again, don't be afraid of topography. Don't be afraid of slope. Don't be afraid of things that go along with that. Don't be afraid of mountainside. Don't be afraid of anything like that. Just educate yourself. Know what is normal for the area, and then what is normal, you go with that, you use it, and then obviously if it fits those parameters, then you can go ahead and do those deals. Now there are some obviously exceptions to that. I mean, we don't buy even an area that's steep. We don't buy topography that's, you know, a cliff face, because there's no use to that, right? If the rock just goes straight up, there's nothing that you can do about it in a case like that. And again, like I said, if it's not normal for the area, then we do a lot more due diligence and find out whether or not people are interested, or if they'd shy away, if it's something that people will work with, if anything like that. But again, what is normal in the area? Around here, these type of lots make up 95% of the lots. So if you're looking for something that's flat because that's what you're being taught, you couldn't even work in an area like this. And I'm not saying just this area. There's tons of mountainous areas around the entire country that you wouldn't be able to work in because of that. So again, look at what the normal situation is in the area, what the normal lots are, how they work, all of that. Don't be afraid of that. Sometimes it's hard to vision until the lot's clear. You look at a picture or you look at topography and you just see a hill and you're like, where are they going to build? And of course, building involves site work. It involves clearing. It involves all of these things. I mean, this lot right here with this house, like I've already talked about, where that house is up there, that's sitting on flat ground. Obviously, that wasn't flat. The hill went the whole way up. They cleared out a spot to put the house in. That's normal in steeper areas with topography like this. So again, just a few minutes on topography there. And the reason, again, bringing it up is because so many people shy away from it because that's what other people teach. And I'm telling you straight out, there's tons and tons and tons of deals to be had in areas like this. You can move them. You just need to know what you're dealing with. So again, thanks for joining us. A little different today here as coming on, coming live from an area as opposed to just sitting there and discussing something like normal. And again, if you're listening to this instead of watching it, feel free to follow us on YouTube at The Land Method, or join our Facebook group, The Land Method. And again, if you have any questions, if we can help you, if we can teach you anything more like this, if these education tips are helping you and realize, wow, there's so much more out there that I can learn and do, feel free to give us a call. Give us a call at 80357-4545. Feel free to go to thelandmethod.com or landrichesblueprint.com, and we'd be more than happy to work with you. So catch you guys next week. Thanks for joining me here on site for this topography lesson.